Welcome, 8th graders. I am so excited to jump into today's lesson with you because what we're tackling today is basically a superpower. It's something that will literally change how the world responds to you. We're talking about reviewing tone, register, and format to totally perfect your correspondence. You know, whether you're completely understood or completely misunderstood usually doesn't come down to just your vocabulary. It's all about how you present your words, the package you put them in, and mastering that package is exactly what we're going to do today.
But before we get into the actual mechanics of writing, we really need to anchor ourselves right here. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1 says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." Treating people with respect through our words, that's a core biblical principle, guys. It guides absolutely everything about good communication. When we focus on presenting our words the right way, we're not just hunting for an A on an English paper, we're actively practicing the respect and gentleness that God calls us to in everyday life.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at why your words matter. Then we'll hit the 3 pillars of writing: tone, register, and format. And finally, we'll wrap up by connecting all of this to our faith through the Godly Learner philosophy. Let's get to it.
Starting off with Section 1, Why Your Words Matter. Specifically, we're looking at the impact of your delivery.
Have you ever tried to make a really valid point to your parents, but, well, maybe your attitude was just a little bit off? What happened? They probably didn't hear your point at all, did they? They just heard the attitude. Well, the exact same thing happens in your writing. You could have the most brilliantly researched points in the world, but the wrong tone completely ruins your message. If you're way too casual in a formal setting, you accidentally come across as disrespectful. But on the flip side, if you're super formal in a letter to your best friend, you just seem cold and distant. However, when you nail that proper formality and format, you are taken seriously. People actually listen.
Let's start building our first pillar. Section 2, Tone, where attitude is everything.
So what is tone exactly? Basically, tone is the attitude of your writing. It's the underlying emotion behind the text. Just like how your speaking voice can sound friendly or neutral or super formal, your written words carry a distinct voice too. And here is the absolute golden rule. Your attitude, your tone, must always match the audience you are writing to.
Think about it. Imagine emailing the leader of your city about a safety issue and starting it with, "Hey Mayor, you should totally fix the potholes ASAP." It's almost funny because it is just so wildly inappropriate. The mayor is probably going to send that right to the trash bin. But what if you wrote, "Dear Mayor Roberts, I am writing to express concern about the large potholes on Main Street." You have the exact same goal, but a completely different attitude. This revised version uses a respectful, serious tone, and it actually gets the job done gracefully.
And that brings us perfectly to our second pillar. Section 3, Register. Knowing your audience and matching your formality to the situation.
If tone is your attitude, register is your level of formality. I like to think of register as the outfit your words are wearing. You wouldn't wear gym shorts to a formal wedding, right? It's the exact same concept here. A business letter requires a highly formal register, which means zero slang, none. But a friendly letter, that can wear comfortable clothes. It can be warm and casual, though of course it should always stay respectful.
Let's look at another one. Picture this. You're emailing your teacher, and you write, "Yo, I don't get this homework." Look, dropping a yo in a message to your teacher is a major register fail. Your teacher's going to be so distracted by how informal it is, they might miss the fact that you actually need help. Instead, try, "Dear Mrs. Allen, I am having difficulty understanding the math assignment." Bam! That is a flawless match for a school setting. Clear, polite, and perfectly formal.
All right, we've got attitude, we've got formality. Now for the visual blueprint. Section 4, Format, or looking the part.
Format is the actual layout and visual structure of your letter. We're talking margins, spacing, headings, the whole shebang. Now, why does this even matter? Because human beings are incredibly visual creatures. Before anyone even reads your perfectly crafted tone and flawless register, their brain processes the shape of your letter on the page. Looking the part visually is literally step 1 in making sure people take your requests seriously.
Let's say you're writing a formal letter to a company to ask for a refund. You need these exact elements to look like a pro. The date goes at the top, followed by the recipient's address, a formal salutation, nicely structured body paragraphs, your closing, and finally your signature. If you leave these out, or if you scramble them all up, the reader might assume you're just careless. But having all these formatting elements dialed in, that shows total professionalism from the exact second they open the envelope.
Okay, the 3 pillars are set. Now it's time to put this into practice. Let's dive in and build a handy checklist you can use every single time you write. I call this the 3-step review. I want you to make a habit of running every important letter or email through this exact checklist before you hit send. Step 1. Check the tone. Ask yourself, does my attitude fit the person reading this? Step 2. Check the register. Am I making sure to avoid slang since this is for school or business? And step 3. Check the format. Do my margins, spacing, and headings look right for this type of document? If you can confidently check off all 3 of those boxes, you are golden.
And just to give you a quick heads up, here's a peek at your upcoming homework. You're going to put these skills to the test. You'll take a poorly toned sentence, "Hey, I want you to fix this," and rewrite it formally. You'll also explain why business letters avoid slang, identify the register of a specific greeting, explain how you check your format, and come up with your very own example of a friendly letter tone mismatch. It's going to be a great way to prove you've got these 3 pillars mastered.
As we get ready to wrap up, I want to transition to something super important. Section 5, the Godly Learner Philosophy. This is where we link your awesome new academic skills with a much higher calling.
At HeroesMart Academy, we intentionally weave biblical morality into our education. Why? Because honestly, education without morality can do a lot of damage. Think about it. We just spent this entire lesson making you a highly capable communicator. You know how to manipulate tone, register, and format to get things done, like getting a refund or fixing a pothole. But your knowledge and intelligence should ultimately help you make wise, God-honoring choices, not just make you more capable of manipulating people. Getting the skill down is only half the battle. Using these skills with deep empathy, complete honesty, and biblical morality, that's the real goal.
The Bible gives us the perfect framework for this in Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So I really want to challenge every one of you 8th graders today. Absolutely pursue academic excellence. Try to be the sharpest writer in the room. But while you do that, keep your mind spiritually grounded. Keep it centered on God, on truth, and on making righteous choices. Because when your brilliant communication skills are fueled by a spiritually minded heart, you're going to bring life and peace to absolutely everyone who reads your words.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on this week. The very next time you sit down to write an email, a letter, or maybe even just a text, how will your words reflect not just your sharp intelligence, but also your deeply held faith? Thank you all for your fantastic focus today. Keep practicing, keep honoring God with your words, and I'll see you in the next lesson.